Peter, what brings you to ICEO 2016?
Well, I've been involved in this business for a long time, 25 years now in tidal, and I actually was involved with the British Wind Energy Association, which preceded Renewables UK before that. So I do tend to try and get along to the conferences, and in particular I have a mission and a message to try and promote much larger tidal turbines so that the technology can at long last start to become commercial.
What is the prerequisite to become commercial?
About 4 or 5 megawatts of installed capacity per machine, because basically the fixed overhead costs of doing anything offshore are very high, and it's the same with offshore wind as it is with tidal turbines, for example. They're very similar, and unless you have 4 or 5 megawatts to spread the fixed overhead costs over, you can't make a profit. And if you can't make a profit, nobody's going to invest in it.
The obvious question is, the machines are pretty big already. Is that a sizing up of the current technology, or is that making more efficient?
It's a sizing up, largely. Just to give you an idea, I was involved with a machine called CGen, which is installed in Strangford Narrows in Northern Ireland, which is 1.2 megawatts, and it's quite a big machine, and it has twin rotors. And what I've got in mind now is something rather similar, but with 4 rotors. So from, I know the sums don't stack up, but those rotors were not as big as I'm thinking of using now. So, we're really looking to go from 1.2 megawatts with 2 rotors to 4 megawatts with 4 rotors. And the analysis we've done suggests that the 4 megawatt machine will instantly be profitable and will make in fact, it'll be extremely profitable because there's a very high subsidy for tidal at the moment. And for the first 30 megawatts, it can actually make a stonking great profit, which would be rather good. And that can be ploughed back into making it pay even better for future lower tariffs, which will, once the subsidy disappears.
So it's not a technological boundary, it's a size and rollout boundary.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, basically, there's a bit of a technicality. With wind turbines, the trend has been to have bigger and bigger rotors, but with tidal, for 2 reasons, you can't just go for bigger and bigger rotors. A, the depth of water. Obviously, the rotor has to be accommodated between the surface and the seabed. The depth of water is usually not sufficient. But even more so, the forces involved get prohibitively difficult to cope with if you go bigger and bigger. So the solution in this case is to go for a row of rotors, several rotors, rather than one very big one. And it's the swept area of the rotors which dictate exactly how much power you're going to get. And it's the amount of power you get which dictates whether it's going to be profitable or not. So more rotors, more power, more profit.
The drum you're beating is go big.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm facing people who have small projects to develop small devices, and they're very defensive because they say what we need is many more small ones so we can learn things. But the reality is that you can't learn much from small devices. You've got to actually do it at the scale which is needed, because when you start scaling up, different problems arise. Like Donald Rumsfeld once said, it's the things you don't know that come and get you. And the whole purpose of R&D is to find out the things you don't know, and then find a solution to get around them.
Steps.
The next step, I hope, is to sell the concept to somebody who wants to develop the technology, somebody who can recognize that they need to make a profit, because if you don't make a profit, you don't get any investment. And I think their only way forward is a big machine, and the way to do that is to build the first big machine, see what we can find out from it, and then from there onwards develop it further.
Do you think the industry will follow you, or will they go their own path?
I'm hoping they'll follow me. I mean, I've had a lot of discussions about this at this conference, and I've had some very positive responses from people. So, time will tell. I mean, I don't know yet.
Thinking about the conference, what have been the big takeaways for you?
Well, I have to confess, I've used it mostly for networking. I did attend. Obviously, I attended some of the sessions, and they were quite interesting. But most of them are kind of stuff which is quite well known already. And the main value for somebody like me is to meet people. Often, a lot of people I know already, but don't see them that often, and catch up and exchange ideas. And it gives me a chance to promote my own ideas as well.
What does the future hold?
Well, I hope it'll hold somebody taking up this particular idea, and I will then hopefully get involved in doing it. But I'm also working, since I left the tidal industries. Marine Current Turbines was my company, but I left there when it was bought by Siemens in 2012. I'm also involved with energy storage, which is another very much futuristic area of energy supply. And so things could go one way or the other, or both ways. I'm hoping to get involved with an exciting energy storage project, but I'm also hoping to get involved with an exciting 4 or 5 megawatt tidal turbine.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.